Ahoy everyone, it's Jeff, aka God the Scummer. Um, First of all, let me apologise that I haven't really been uploading and doing as much recently. I've had a little bit of YouTube burnout, which happens to people from time to time, and I needed to just sort of take a bit of a break away from things, just to concentrate on my own life and so on. Um, so apologies that I haven't been as active on YouTube recently. However, I read something today that I just felt compelled to say something, and because it really it annoyed me, um, and I've got to talk about the Church of England and what I read today. Now, obviously, people know I'm British. I live in it. I live in the UK. Specifically, I live in the south of England. People know that, and I live in a country where the Church of England is part of the state. I forget off the top of my head how many bishops that are allowed in the House of Lords, which is the upper tier of the British Parliament. A bit like the Senate in the United States, only the Lords is unelected, but the Church of England get I forget X amount of seats. I think it's something like 23. I don't quote me on that. That's just I'm going off of my memory, which might not be 100% on that. However, a couple of years ago, there was a big scandal within the Church of England. And a lot of the big churches have had scandals involving abuse of children and vulnerable adults. A lot of churches have had those scandals. We all know the scandals of the Catholic Church. We all know the scandals in the Jehovah's Witnesses. There was a big scandal in the Church of England of hundreds of cases of abuse by clergy, church officials, and volunteers. At least 383 cases brought to light. After a report into some of this stuff, they brought in this panel, the ISB, I think they're called. It was an independent panel or something that was supposed to work with the church to, I think it meant independent safeguarding board or something like that. It was basically it was a this is a watchdog to that the church brought in to look at what's going on, an independent group to look at what was going on, and I suppose make recommendations about how they could do better. News has come out today that the Church of England has sacked the three people that were brought in for this the ISB. There were three members on this board. They've sacked them. They've ended the relationship. At least two of the people on that board said that when they were doing their investigations and so on into the church, that they found the Church of England to be obstructive, covering shit up, So, I guess the Council of Archbishops today said that they were ending this relationship. What this tells me about the Church of England is they're not serious about addressing the issues within their organisation and doing better. They're not serious about it at all. And it's a really weird thing because even a lot of other atheists in the UK have a I mean, like, for example, famous example would be Richard Dawkins, who admits he's got a soft spot for the Church of England, at least compared to the other churches and so on. And yeah, the Church of England can seem all happy clappy, a bit lighter on the surface, but the fact isn't it? We've seen this shit goes on still within the Church of England. This shit goes on, and what this stuff today tells me is they have no intention of actually addressing the issues, and they're more than happy to wants to cover up abuse. They're fucking guilty of that as the Catholic Church, in my opinion. And it bothers me because I'm a citizen of the United Kingdom. The Church of England is part of the state here. This bothers me, and I think it is long we are long overdue for a conversation about whether this church, who our king, the new King Charles, is the head of. Technically, it is the monarch that is the head of the Church of England. It's high time we had a serious discussion in our country about whether they should still be part of the state or not. I'm very much of the opinion they shouldn't be. If they're gonna do stuff like this, if they're gonna cover up abuse, why the fuck are they allowed seats in the Parliament, in the upper tier of Parliament, the Lords? I mean, I'm not even going to get onto how antiquated I think our parliamentary system here is in the UK, or the fact that we're a monarchy. Those are things of different streams, different videos. But it's high time we had this, because I honestly don't think the Church of England could possibly represent much more than 10% of the country, honestly. The people attending church services has dropped so much in the UK. They don't represent British people, in my opinion. And yes, and the fact to me that it seems that there's like a lot of churches, there's a lot of historic cases of abuse that they would sooner not deal with. And they had an opportunity with this thing. They had an opportunity with this independent panel or whatever to deal with this, to at the very least make sure that nothing like this happens again. And they've blown that because reasons. So I just needed to get that off my chest. I'm sorry, it's not the most in-depth expose on the C of E, I'm going to say. There's probably a lot of information I don't have. I admit that. I admit that at the time of making this video. But in my opinion, we're long overdue to have a conversation in this country about whether the Church of England needs to be part of the state, and especially if they are quite clearly not are going to ignore hundreds of cases of abuse of vulnerable people, and they're prepared to ignore that in all the same ways that the fucking Roman Catholic Church has done for decades. I don't think they need to be part of the British state any longer, and I think it's way time that we just threw this bloody anachronism into the dustbin of history where it belongs. Okay, so I just want to get that off my chest. It's been Jeff, aka God the Scammer. See you later. Salute.